Hey folks, how you doing out there today? Remo back, and we are out on my new Snowrunner mod project, which is Highway Haulin 2, the region. And we are out on map 2, which is currently in development right now. Today we are going to be hauling this monster Cat 770 down a newly added road on the map. This one is going to be a road that you're going to haul some fairly large trailers down, and this is my first trip up it. I do not know what to expect. I figured this was an appropriate vehicle. We have the TWM Peterman 389 oil truck, and I got the hauler version because we're going to haul this trailer, and I figured it would be nearly impossible with that low saddle 770 trailer, so we went ahead and spawned our own vehicle and grabbed this more suitable off-road trailer for the trip. Now my goal with this haul out of here is going to be a road that used to haul some fairly big stuff but has been neglected for a long time. It's just grown in. Some of these hills are going to be pretty challenging, is what I was shooting for, but I don't want it to be impossible. So we'll see how this one goes. We're going to go cruise all the way out. This is going to be a really good example of what this map is going to offer, because we're going to do some fairly intense off-road haul here. Then we're going to get onto the better roads, and we're going to run up to the railroad area, which I've done a whole bunch of work on in the last couple days. That I've basically trying to shoot for about 2 videos a week at this point, and that gives me time to work on some new stuff, work in some of the suggestions and such that you guys offer out there, and then have something to actually show. Over in this corner is also, in the previous Remo builds video, is where we were working on the logging area, so this is kind of joining in to that road system, and there's going to be a whole bunch of swamp area around the logging sections, which I have mentioned previously is going to be where you're picking up the long logs, and the access to the medium and short are going to be on map 1 where they are currently. So my vision on the logging on this map is going to be the long logs, but you're going to have a couple pick points with a limited amount of logs, which means that essentially you're going to have to end up going to most of the areas to complete the log tasks that are going to be associated on this map. There's going to be more to add in with a few of the areas. The factories that I'm building here, there's going to be a drilling site, as I said. I want to work in, I have in previous maps, but firewood tasks and things like that. So it's going to be a little bit more log hauling, some of it on road, some of it off road. So it should be a good mix that you kind of come to expect with these highway hauling maps. This map will definitely feature more off-road trails that are real off-road like this. I'm gonna have a bunch of meandering trails for just playing around on. There is a lot more swamps and a large river that we're gonna cross further along in the video here that will have a pretty good trail system down it. It's probably I'm gonna make a few rapids areas that you could cross with a truck. Some of it's gonna be pretty deep, you know, just kind of work it in as a bit of a barrier, but also something that if you want the challenge, you can scoot across. There's a few swamps that are going to give you that opportunity, so there's going to be roads that go around them, and there's going to be roads that go right up through the middle of them. So really up to how you want to attack getting out to the areas, and I guess it depends a lot what you're driving and what you're hauling. So far, this trail is proving to be fairly tough. I have the active suspension and I have it raised on this truck, so you would really struggle with probably a vanilla truck. Now, what the factory that we left is going to be is it's going to be like an old abandoned rocket area, kind of similar to what I did in the Manchester map. Now I want to work in some of the rocket hulls, and there's really only so many reasons why you would use the rocket part, so I apologize for a bit of repetitiveness on this one, but it's going to be quite a bit different. And I do want to be able to get the 8-slot trailer out of this area. So I'm probably going to end up smoothing this road out a little bit, but I would love to know your thoughts on leaving it at this challenge. It's got to have a few hard tasks, or do you want me to feather it in a little bit more? I haven't really got hung up too bad, but this is a lot shorter trailer. The one that hauls that whole rocket, or the big chunk that's put together, is an 8-slot, and we know how that thing gets hung up. I guess the other option is to leave it pretty rough like this and maybe not use that trailer but haul the other rocket stuff. Let me know what you think on the situation. Down in that area is going to be, and you can just see in the background, the logging area, and that's one of the large swamps that's going to loop all the way around actually to the other logging area that we built in that previous Remo builds video. It's going to be smaller trails than this. It's going to be fairly tough runs in and out of those logging pickup zones. Probably going to have 2, maybe 3 different spots in around this kind of... This is a corner of the map that's going to be fairly unpopulated. You're just kind of out on your own out here. Kind of depends on what I write out for tasks and how many logs I really need to deliver, but there's definitely going to be a recovery down in there. Should be quite a few recoveries on this map, and some of them are going to end up on the other map purely because it's more populated. There's a lot of houses we could deliver some vehicles to and things like that, a few trailer pickups, stuff that I really want to work into this map. Next thing I'm going to work on, and you may see it in the next video, is the off-road park and campground that I'm going to build in, and we're going to use it for a bunch of tasks. My thought was this old military rocket factory, whatever, can't really put a finger on the name, but I was thinking of maybe using those little armored cargos as a crane job, that you would go over and pick them up and maybe bring them to the off-road park to have like a car climbing trail, like with some ramps over it, or some dirt jumps that you jump over the cars, or maybe monster truck car climbing. So things like that are what I want to work into the off-road park. The thought is, and it's pretty typical with Snowrunner, is it's going to be an abandoned spot that you're going to clean back up and get going. So I wanted to work in some of the debris stuff that you have to deliver, maybe some garbage bins to clean it up off the track, probably build up the clubhouse again kind of deal, or maybe add in, maybe that could be the buildable garage that I want to add to this map. I've kind of picked out an area that's going to be on a point that's kind of wrapped by that large river. So I kind of have an area that I want to work with, and it's fairly large, but I want to put in kind of a little off-road track that would be more, like, it's going to be a small tight track. If you ever played my Moto Park map, there's a little trail in it that's kind of like a fast pace, a lot of jumps, but it's really small and tight, a lot of banked corners and stuff. I was maybe going to try and work something like that in, where you jump over a few cars on a couple of the obstacles. You know, just kind of have fun with it, and then when you're done building it, you have an RP place that you can go and camp in or take your trips across, and really just kind of enjoy the map in a different way. I always try to build these worlds as a place that you're gonna spend some time in and just kind of live in and get lost in. And with any luck, having a few extra things like that, I think it helps invest you in the map when you actually work through a task and build the thing up. I know we all enjoy the reward of an animated finish to a task. Just makes it feel like more of a reward. This is the big river, and it's mostly this wide all the way across. I've just quickly roughed it in there, but there are going to be, like I said, some rapids areas, things like that. So it trails down the side of it, so you can definitely just do off-roading on this map. It's going to be a good mix, as all my mod maps are. Right now you can see we're kind of back into civilization a bit more. Envision this area having some houses back in the trees. Just as you work your way back to the highway, you're going to see a little bit more population and more civilization, as I said. Basically the river's the cross line, which is, it's probably about 3/4 of the way up the map. So you're going to see a lot of stuff on the highway side of the river, but when you get across the river, which this is going to be the only real bridge across it on this one side, which will prove to be challenging. I think I'm going to put a task in to maybe build one of the small wooden bridges further down there. That basically the other side of the map, on the other side of the river, is the drilling area. So there's going to be a long way which is going to incorporate the road that we just took, and there's going to be a shorter way that's ruined that I'm either thinking of leaving swamp, or perhaps using some of the wooden bridges to build like a boardwalk path to give you an option if you want to haul all the logs and lumber, to give yourself a real easy way. The drill rig task is going to, one of the parts of the task is going to be delivering that 8-slot mast trailer. So I want to make, it's got to be something that's worth your while to put the effort into to get that thing across. Again, it's going to partially use the road that we just come down with this, so keep that in mind, especially if we keep the other road real rough. This is a heavy load, this 770. I'm pretty sure I have the second engine of this truck, and I gotta say, the truck is real nice mod. It feels like it gives you the performance you would expect from a truck this size. So all in all, on my first trip here, I'm quite enjoying this rig, and I think it's going to work its way in. It's very reminiscent of the Edison truck, but a little heavier duty. I don't know, it's different. It's kind of the same but different, and it's another fantastic mod from TWM. So here we are, finally back at a paved road. Now, in a future video, you'll see if you turn right is going to be where the trailer store is. That I don't think I'm going to do a task for you to open, but there's going to be a small-ish town that way. And this way really is going to take us back to the highway. Either way, eventually you'll get you back to the highway. This is the shortest route from where we're showing up on the map. And if we make a left up here, you can see I have not smoothed this road out at all. It'll be flatter when you get a chance to drive on it. If we make a left at this T coming up here, it's going to take us down to the port area, which is going to introduce... That is probably where I'm going to load cargo containers. Maybe the big ones and maybe the small ones from the rail yard, which we're actually heading over to now. Yeah, I haven't really done much to the highway here. You can see in the distance it's a split level highway. I thought that would just be something a little different, give it some character. From here in, I've actually spent a fair bit of time working on some areas and just really starting to place a few houses. We have the rail yard coming up. You can see the tracks in the distance there. Most of the ditches put in. Just starting to really lay out where things are going to be, and then come back into a house like that and really start putting in the little things around that sell the place. Another little house, you get an idea of the spacing. I'm going to make this a little more of a country, larger lot houses. Not going to be, like I said, really any big population areas in this one. It's going to be a little more out in the middle of nowhere, so it gives you a little different feel than the first map. You can see in the background we're just coming by the rail yard, which again is going to have a few tasks coming into it, as well as a loading area and some stuff to go out of it, which will end up using all the maps. Means probably in map 3 I'll probably do an airport, I would expect, because we have rail and a port at this one, so really that would be the next logical large transportation area. And up here we're just gonna go have a look. I mentioned in a previous video that I'd like to do a train pull kind of task, so I just wanted to come check it out. I don't know if the train's going to be able to go across these barriers, so I'll have to keep that in mind. But I did place one up on a track up here to give a bit of a test pull and see. The train's really hard to lay on the track straight. It usually takes a few tries, so that when you come close to it and actually spawn it into game, it drops straight on the tracks, because if it's even remotely crooked, it just falls over. It's more challenging than you would think, but the problem is I have to repack and rebuild the map, so like 12-15 minutes of waiting just to test it. So I'm not going to do it in this video, but perhaps I'll throw a video up of the train testing and setup at some point. So here we are at the end. We're going to haul this thing at somewhere at some point. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you again real soon.